Hi everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to wish everyone a happy and safe Christmas and New Year. Well, DiabeticRadio has been going strong for over 3 years now, going into the fourth year. And I really feel that I could not have continued. Once again, I couldn't continue if it were not for my viewer support. I've talked about many things on Diabetic Radio, and I look forward to bringing even more interesting topics and useful information that we all can use to enhance our diabetic lives, regardless of what type of diabetes you have. I'd like to give a special thank you to my local viewers who have supported me since the beginning, and since I started Diabetic Radio and Vintage Newscast too. I'll try not to get into too much detail because I think that, it's going to be a new year. I don't want to keep focusing on this. I need to go into a new direction here. But many of you have discovered that I'm going through, a lot. Actually, I'm still currently going through a situation concerning an individual and his followers with daily harassment. Actually, thinking about it now, harassment is an understatement. There was a lot of things I wanted to do. I really wanted to do and accomplish for Diabetic Radio, but I just couldn't because of these young individuals who have made it, very difficult for me and have nothing else to do with their lives than to spend an incredible amount of time that they could be using for something else constructive, but instead they're trying to discourage me, make me embarrassed, and make things just difficult for me emotionally and community, work-wise, etc. And I know for a fact that if it were not the fact that many of you have witnessed it, you would have never believed that it were humanly possible that one person could invest so much time along with his followers, monkey see, monkey do, can invest so much time to do this to one person who they don't even know. I'm sure most of you local fans of mine understand exactly what I'm talking about. At this point, you guys cannot deny that within this community we have some serious behavioral issues, particularly with the young. And I strongly feel that one of the biggest reasons for this is because women are no longer having children. Girls are having children. And girls that have no sense make babies that will grow up to have no sense either. The bad part is I've realized that a lot of the older generation have perpetuated this as well. I used to hear a lot of grandparents say, when are you going to give me a grandchild? When are you going to give me a grandchild? I want grandchildren. And I couldn't help but to say to myself, these grandparents, all they can think about is, carrying on their family name. And the young adult that they're talking to doesn't even have a bare minimum of a GED. No, girl. No, ladies and gentlemen. The problem in this world is not because of gays and lesbians, I can assure you. In my opinion, it appears that so many children today have become so so bad, so emotionally unstable, that these kids do not respond to any words or authority. I've heard many people say, I feel sorry for Yogi, what he's going through, yada yada yada. But you know what? I've also done a lot of thinking and a lot of reflecting, and I realized that I actually feel sorry for those problem kids. You know why? Because obviously they have not had a parent figure, a real parent figure or guardian who loved them enough to teach them how to behave in the real world, so that when they grow up, they become respectable young men and women that can hold a job, hold a relationship, and hold real friends. You can't possibly think that these kids today are doing well in school. I highly doubt it. I can assure you, this is not the work of sinful lesbian and gay people. I understand, I understand that it costs money, to maintain a church, and this is why you guys ask for tithes and everything. However, it costs you nothing to come out of church and mentor some of these badass kids out here. There's so many churches in the poor communities. Where are these spiritual leaders, these church leaders, to come out, to take over where the young parents has failed? You can't just ignore this fact and decide that you just want to pick on gay people. I assure you, this is not the fault of lesbian and gay people. Let's get one thing straight, okay? I've gone through a lot of things, things that the average person could not deal with, and I don't have to explain myself to anyone. I really don't care who believes me or not. That's your problem. It just so happened that I've been inspired by all the shit that I've gone through to make a difference, to help you, to lay out all my business out on the internet, to help other people understand what it's really like to live with diabetes. If you don't believe me, that's really your problem. How can you see all the work that I've done and hear all the witnesses and still not believe? The light the light is not on in the neighbor's house? Hello? And the other thing, how do you figure that I need to explain myself? I don't need to explain myself to anybody. Excuse me, the burden of proof is not on me. After I've had my surgeries and my vision was corrected and everything, I could not have imagined that I'd be dealing with such evil kids. I just was not prepared for this. These parents have failed to raise their kids miserably, and I realize a large portion of this is because the parents are still kids themselves. People are becoming grandparents at the age of 30 and 35. This doesn't bother you? This doesn't bother you at all? I can assure you the problems of the world is not because of lesbian and gay people. Lesbian and gay people are the least of your worries. In the beginning, when I started Diabetic Radio, I was only focusing on helping people who are diabetic, and it was crazy. I focused so much work on my blog that I didn't even realize just how much work I've accomplished, and the stress of all the harassment and shit every day, all hours of the night. It's like they were taking shifts all day, from the crack of morning to the night. In the middle of the night, these people just didn't sleep. And the only thing that changed is that I started hearing people, telling me how much they've been helped by my blog. I almost gave up everything a number of times. I'm like, if people don't listen to me, why am I doing all this work for? What am I doing all this work for? But people actually started to get help, and that really have shifted my attitude a lot. And although now, I feel better that people are finally getting it after going on 4 years, it still didn't make it easy for me to handle, a lot of people told me, they feel bad for me, I feel so sorry. Well, not me directly, but they be like, oh, I feel sorry for Yogi, and blah, 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 and, but you know what, don't feel sorry for me, because, I still continue with my diabetic efforts. I still continue with my blog. The most important thing is that you now know. Now you need to take that new knowledge that you now understand to try to teach people who still don't get it. Teach your children that it's important, that blatant hate and blatant xenophobia is not good. We all need to respect and learn to love each other, period, regardless of who we are. Words hurt, and they hurt bad. Words can hurt worse than getting your ass kicked. Now let me speak a little bit to the crazy ass individuals who have no life. Guys, you are in desperate need of professional help. Make this the new year that you get help. Okay? Maybe a good medication, monitored by a good licensed, psychiatrist. This is way too long you're exhibiting this behavior. It's inappropriate behavior, very inappropriate behavior. You need help. Make this new year that you get help, please. And although undoubtedly you made this the hardest thing I ever had to deal with in my entire life, ironically, the other side is, if it wasn't for your unspeakable, the unspeakable things you've done and said to me and about me, it actually helped me to fulfill my purpose in getting people to learn more about diabetes, getting people to get curious, to figure, what's so bad about this guy. So your callousness, your cruel, and your evilness, you actually helped me a lot, in terms of, diabetes. Yes, in the beginning, you were successful in making me feel embarrassed, confused, ashamed, for a very long time. However, I'm just sorry. It's unfortunate that because of all of that, it took me a long time to remember that, wait a minute, screw this. I am a good person. I am a good son. I am a good grandson. I'm a good nephew. I'm a good cousin. I'm a great friend. I'm a great and outstanding and loyal employee. And nobody, absolutely nobody, I don't care what you think about me, no one can take that away from me. So brother, I release you and your followers. I release you from my consciousness. I release you from my subconsciousness. I release you from my superconscious. Goodbye. Om Namah Shivaya. Bye. No longer will your words invade my spirit. I reclaim my right to smile with my friends again. I reclaim the right to live my life as I see fit. I reclaim my right to self-acceptance. I reclaim the right to not allow what you tried to do to me interfere with my diabetes management. And most importantly, I reclaim my right of knowing that I am okay just the way I am. But also, I realize that diabetes is greater than me being embarrassed and possibly worried about how I sound or how I look. I used to worry about that a lot, actually. How I sound and how I look, sounding too gay. Oh, he's gay. I ain't going to listen to his diabetes stuff. He's just probably going to only talk about gay stuff. It's all about the message. I'm trying to teach about diabetes. And if you guys can't get that, if you can't get that my site is all about diabetes, then chances are you're probably a schmuck about other things too. You know, when I started my diabetes blog, I was only solely focusing on diabetics, and it really surprised me, that so many people, again, who didn't have diabetes were visiting my site. It took me a long time, finally, after more than 3 years, to break some of the beliefs that people have about diabetes. People are finally getting it. They truly are getting it. And I believe that people are dying not because of uncontrolled diabetes. People are dying because of all the mixed and misinformation that's out there, and assumed information about there concerning diabetes. Let's make this a new year resolution to closely discriminate before we disseminate any information, especially when it comes to diabetes. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love you guys. I so appreciate it. You have no idea. And I just don't have the words just as how much I appreciate it. But I tell you one thing again, this is a new year. I was so affected by what was going on, and I just was not myself for 3 years, and that's no longer. I don't deserve it. I never deserved it. I don't know what's your problem. You really need help. Maybe you didn't have good positive people around you. You learn all this behavior shit from being around with the wrong people. But you know what? In the end, as you get older, you will realize that all that shit you're doing is going to come back to you, and it's going to be a conflict of interest. You have to get help. You got to know by now that you need help. And I really beseech you to get help. And the little friends that you have left, I hope they realize that you need help and possibly get help themselves. You really need it. You can't continue, to do this, because it's no longer about me anymore. You're affecting the whole entire, community, and everybody's pretty much sick of you. So again, I release you, I pray for you. I hope you get the help that you need. But I'm moving on. You can't hurt me anymore. This is bullshit. You can't hurt me anymore. I'm a good person. I am a good person. Thanks guys for listening. Bye.